Steve Scalise.
Thank you, Whip. I join all of my colleagues in mourning the loss of Doug LaMalfa. Doug was a dear friend who I knew since the day he walked into Congress. And he was a gentle giant, he was a big guy who was just the warmest heart you could know, and had a great sense of humor and had a passion for water issues, for Western issues. He was the chairman of the Western Caucus, really cared about natural resources issues and fought for all of those and talked about them on the House floor with members of Congress all the time. Doug was respected by everybody, Republicans, Democrats alike. It's a big loss for all of us. And we know he leaves behind a loving family, a wife and young kids, and we're going to continue to keep him in our prayers. So it's a tough way to start a new year, but we also know what challenges are ahead for the country that we want to continue to work on addressing. We did a lot last year to start reversing the damage that President Trump and all of us inherited from the Biden years. The high inflation, the high interest rates, so many rules and regulations that were targeted to hurt families, to increase costs for families that we have been working to reverse. President Trump's done a lot of things through executive action. We worked closely with the president on things like the Working Families Tax Cuts, other big bills, over 20 CRAs, Congressional Review Acts, reversing costly, ridiculous Biden-era regulations so that we can lower costs for families. And we're going to continue. We have a lot more work to do. We talked about this yesterday very extensively. President Trump was fully engaged with our members yesterday, as he has been this entire first year. It's not even a full year in office. And yet we have seen an incredibly engaged president who is working with a Republican House and Senate and Congress to fight for the American people who had been left behind by the previous administration. We talked about what we can do to keep lowering costs in areas like energy, where in many states are now finally seeing less than $2 a gallon gasoline. That's more money in the pockets of families. Working on lowering health care costs, where Democrats only want to give money to big insurance companies. President Trump talked about letting families have the decision on how to spend that money. Not the insurance companies, but families controlling where the money goes. And if they can get a better plan for themselves and their family, they should be able to make those decisions, as he's done other things to lower prescription drug prices. We're going to keep working on those ideas. We had all of our committee chairmen talking about all the things that are going to be teed up, things that are already coming through committee, lowering housing costs, so many other things that we're going to be doing. And then every member was able to give their input. And members gave a lot of really good input on looking at an agenda that's going to be continued to focus on lowering costs for families and getting this country back on track as we celebrate 250 years of American independence. It's something to be proud of. But democracy is not easy. Democracy takes work. It takes engagement from the public. As we go into an election next, November, later this year, the country needs to stay engaged in fighting for the kind of reforms that we've been able to deliver so that we can keep doing what it takes to get this country back on track. We are excited about this opportunity. The margin's going to be as slim as it ever has been. And you'll get to report every day about, gee whiz, with a one-vote majority, can they do this and will they pass that? Might as well cue up the stories you wrote last year, because you had a lot of the same stories. Gee whiz, there's no way they'll be able to pass the reconciliation bill until it passed, because we came together as Republicans to go deliver for those American families who are counting on us. While Democrats wake up every day, and we see it with Venezuela, some of the same Democrats who just years ago were saying, when is somebody going to do something about Maduro? And President Trump finally does and brings him to justice for all the horrible things he's done to kill Americans. And those same Democrats are then saying, how dare the president do it? Because Democrats have shown all they care about every day is they wake up in the morning and they just want to oppose what Donald Trump does, no matter what it is. When he's delivering on the promises the American people elected him to carry through on, all the Democrats want to do is obstruct and fight and vote no. And if that's what they want to do as a party, just to be a lost in the wilderness, far-left, radical, socialist, Marxist party, then let them stay lost in the wilderness. We're going to keep fighting and delivering for those families who are counting on us. They'd love to see Democrats work with this president, but if the Democrats want to continue moving towards the Mandami wing of their party, which is where they're headed, and defend a dictator who was literally letting narco-terrorists run his country, then we're going to continue. Think about this, hundreds last year. Hundreds of thousands of Americans died because of drugs that came into this country through people like Maduro. And President Trump said, we're going to stop those deaths from happening. We care about those families. Every family who has seen loss from fentanyl death or cocaine or heroin overdose. President Trump did something about that to defend Americans here at home, and he will continue to do that on every front. And we're going to keep delivering with President Trump for those same families who should not struggle anymore. And it's going to be a very busy year. It's going to be a year of unified Republicans delivering for hard-working American families. And the man leading us through that effort is our Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.